Hi. Thanks. Welcome, everybody. And Catherine and I continue our journey and sharing our learnings and wisdom with everybody bi-weekly basis. And today we wanted to shift here a little bit. So up until 2 weeks ago, we talked about career focus topics. But today we want to kind of expand a little bit and talk about, what is purposeful, purpose-driven career and life. The career is part of life, but what does that mean to you, and what does that mean to all other women, and how we coexist when our own purpose and meaning of purpose differs from somebody else, and how do we make sure that we respect our purpose as well as other people's purpose and help each other.
Excellent. So do you want to present again yourself, and then I present myself too?
Yeah, sure. So assuming that you're watching this for the first time, I want to introduce who I am. My name is Hae-Sing Han, and I'm a corporate turned coach, high performance coach. And I'm passionate about helping women in corporate setting who are going for leadership position or already in leadership position and just take their career and life to the next level and really focus on impact on those around them. And Catherine?
So, and myself, I'm a former CEO of the Swiss CEO of one of the large consultancy firms. And my passion and my legacy and my mission is to bring more female energy into the C-suite and beyond. So that is my passion. And like Hae-Sing, I'm also a certified high performance coach. And as you can understand, I love to push the butts. I'm teasing. Now, I love to get the best out of people, but it must be in balance also with their own life so that it is congruent with their being. So this is my side. So I think that this is a terrific topic. And Hae-Sing, you came up with, or we switched the topic because sadly the other night, Madam Secretary Madeleine Albright passed away. And I think that she inspired many of us so much with her being. But you have been closer to than me to Washington, D.C. And I think, do you want to share with us what impression she left on you?
Yeah, there are many women who inspire me throughout my career and life. And I think I was a young woman in my 20s, and I was an immigrant, and I was very vulnerable. I was all by myself and very lonely going to school. And I happened to live in Washington, D.C. in Foggy Bottom, not far away from the White House and all the political things. So even though I wasn't a political person, I felt very close to the President Clinton at the time and Madam Secretary Albright. And I also identify with her because she's an immigrant, and she felt very strongly about, she had a strong sense of duty and obligation as a woman. And it's almost like I'm standing on the shoulder of women before me. And I happen to be somebody who's from Central Europe, going through all these World War II and Nazi era. I had an opportunity to come to America. I have to leverage my privilege and opportunity to better the life of people. There was more than women. And to me, she's like barely, I don't even think she's 5 feet tall. And she was always standing beside all these other male diplomats around the globe. And they're often quite tall, 6 feet or taller. I never thought that she was small in stature. There is something about her that was so big. And as a petite person myself, I was like, how do I look and sound more like her? I used to joke about it with my boyfriend, now husband. Like, how do I look and sound more like Madeleine Albright? So it's a joke. So Wednesday, I heard the news she passed, and there was some special space in my heart that kind of sang, but I also wanted to pay tribute to her life and what it means to women now and what we can do to better the life of women around us today and then women next generations.
For me, she belongs to the category of women I grew up with on the television at that time or in newspapers, like Golda Meir at that time in Israel, or Madeleine Albright definitely belonged to these type of people. Also, Margaret Thatcher, you could be for her or not. Also, by the way, and most likely there will be people jumping all around when hearing what the name that I'm going to say about Hillary Clinton. It is about the professionalism, the level of preparation, the level of dedication, of purpose, which is wonderful. I mean, the strong women who were almost like Churchill, who never, in the private arena, were allowing to show weakness, but on the outside, I mean, strong women. And I feel I have the greatest admiration for people like this. Although, we could ask now if what makes such a person so great, is it about charisma? No, these women are not looking for charisma. These women are just in the center and are whom they are and are meticulously prepared. And it is this level of preparation and strength, which is absolutely, for me, fabulous. And it's interesting because I feel very much intellectually drawn to women who have this sparkling intelligence, this sparkling strength, who have a vision and who are going to fight on one side and ethically won't move 1 inch. And I think that this is something which gives me a lot of strength.
Yes, they have to take up positions a lot of times in a situation where it doesn't make them popular. Mm-hmm. I think, if you ask Serbian and that part of the Europe and Bosnian war and everything, there is a very stark difference in terms of how they feel about her. And that's the kind of courage, because if you really feel strongly about what's justice and what is right, some people agree with you, others don't, depending on which side of politics or any kind of situation you might be in. But for somebody to kind of take the stance, and there's a reason for it, and it's not about her, it is about the people who suffer and people who would be benefited from her action, that's a difficult place to be. And one of the things we always talk about, Catherine, is some people say leaders are born, but I strongly disagree. Leaders are made, not born. Anybody can be a leader, and it takes a long time for a person to develop that kind of character. It doesn't happen overnight, and our lives are so precious because the more difficulty, adversity, and challenges you face, or you're willing to put yourself in front of those challenges, it's really hard at the time, but it builds your character and it makes you stronger.
And the stronger your character the only way your character can get really or become strong is when you're congruent with what is really important to you. It doesn't mean that you can change opinion or change ideas and whatever because of the understanding that you're gaining, but it is about remaining congruent. And I think that this is something which always was my guideline, and which helped me to go through. Because I would say, as a CEO, for instance, I never really cared about politics. I knew exactly what to do to stop someone who wanted to politically do something harmful. Yes, this I could do. I mean, there was no problem with that. But it was for me more about the vision and how could I make it happen that everyone could follow, or most of the people could follow the path, and to build, construct the path together with everyone. And I think that these women, and there's so many, because if you look at, just before we started, I look at Wikipedia, all the women in politics in Asia, in India, in all around the world, you have so many of them. And I think we don't really appreciate enough how many are on the shoulders of how many women we have been able to lean on and to grow, lean on and grow with. So it is really a tribute to all these dedicated, selfless women who achieve so many things.
Yeah, and I also thought about this is a completely different era because she's a diplomat, but I also thought about Sarah Blakely, and she's a self-made billionaire. I think she was pretty much the first woman self-made billionaire. I don't know, it's in the United States for sure, but I don't know, it's globally. And she used the same expression. I've seen her in different places being a guest speaker or keynote speaker, and she talks about exactly that. And I happen to be very fortunate and living a privileged life in the US at the right time. And she talks about her grandmother and her mother, what they didn't have that she has, and why it is her moral obligation to do well for herself and women around her and for the next generation of women. So I think this is the kind of thinking that you and I, Catherine, always really hope to inspire other women. And we'd also talk about sometimes resistance that come from women who have a different version of their purpose. It might be being the best mother they can be. It might be I'm a leader, but I'm not a leader by position. I'm not in the position of power, but I'm a leader. And because I serve and I contribute, whether it's in a personal life or churches or other causes or within the company, there is nothing better or worse in terms of the value of your purpose and cause. But I think it's important for us to really value mine, but as well as respect others' purpose when it's different from yours. Yes. And when it makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable because it's not conventional in your view and it is not something you would do. So these women, I know that Hillary Clinton isn't all that popular in many women, but like Madeleine Albright and all these other women who made a difference to this world, they're not perfect as a human being. I'm not talking about whether they're perfect. Nobody is. But I wanted to celebrate the sacrifice and dedication they made in order to raise other people up. It isn't all about them. If it's just about them, you cannot wake up in the morning and you cannot do this 20, 30, 40 years. It's conviction, it's purpose.
But let's take Hillary Clinton and we could also, 5 or 6 weeks ago, I would have also picked Angela Merkel.
Yes.
Right now is...
not anymore.
Well, no, it's not anymore. I think that there is a whole storm which is preparing to lash out against her. We just need to be very careful because there was a government who supported also her decisions. So it is very easy to shoot at someone. The thing is with Hillary Clinton is that she has been so much. Do you say stigmatized over the year? Whatever, if she does a step to the left, she will be criticized. If she does a step on the right, she will be criticized. And what I admire with her is despite the hate which is pouring out from so many people towards her, that she can stay composed, professional, and still bringing showing some values and some dedication to others. And I would like still to keep her in this circle of women, because first Madeleine Albright and her understood each other very well. So and also because there are so many women who are criticized also by other women for every step they do, and it goes along, what you were just saying. And I think that the quote is now circulating on LinkedIn. Albright's quote about the special hell for women. There's a special place in hell for women who don't
help others. Yeah.
And that is absolutely true, because we women can be absolutely a plug. I mean, we can be terrible at how we treat others because of jealousy, because of cultural background, and because we don't want to allow others to grow and blossom. And I think it is also the opportunity just to remind each other that we are all on our journey, on our personal journey, and we never know, what will show up, and that we should be also seeing around the corners and accept that there will be other women who will be brighter than us, more intelligent than us, as long as we're helping out each other. And this is currently what is also going on. The better our world will be, instead of trying to, not to be that way.
Yeah, setting aside who Hillary Clinton was, was as a candidate. And I looked up an article. Madeleine Albright actually wrote an article after that crazy. She said, I said this comment many times in my life, and everybody understood and nodded their head. But when she said it in the context of supporting Hillary Clinton as a candidate, when there's so many women who are against her and wanting to find every fault in her, it just backfired. And I think she was writing this article to say, I've been a diplomat for a long time, and this is my undiplomatic moment. And the same thing that was said in different contexts, but what I meant is exactly the same. I didn't mean to say anybody who doesn't support Hillary Clinton should go to hell. It was more about, in general, we're trying to make a history, like a history, and it could possibly be there will be a woman president. It cannot be, it doesn't have to be her. It could be somebody else.
Absolutely.
But what are the important topics that could be brought upon and focused on because a woman becomes a president of a country as powerful as the United States? That's what she wanted to say. And I think you and I met by chance, and we started having this weekly dialogue to see how we can help each other. And when I became a coach, it was not long ago. It's only a little over a year ago. There are a lot of women coaches closer to me in my own country, in my region, and I met, and brilliant ladies. And I wanted to create a community to help each other because I was starting out, but it didn't always work out the way I hoped it would. And I haven't asked them why, because I don't know the reasons. I don't want to speculate, but I created this special bond with somebody who's in Germany. I'm in Canada. And that's what makes my purpose-driven career transition so special. Like, I spend people around the globe daily, more so than people in Canada, because we have the same cause and we believe in the same thing. So I feel like when you find that special person, like I find our relationship really special, and we are trying to do the same thing. And I think one of the things we talk a lot about, Catherine, is potential. I don't even think potential, the scarcity mindset in the minds of women, because there aren't a lot of women in leadership position or political, corporate, government, whatever the setting, that we tend to think that we don't do that on purpose. I don't think women do that on purpose because we're very cooperative and collaborative in general. But there is this queen bee mentality. There is spot for one, and there is 99. Their group of 100, there is 99 spots for men, but only one spot for women at the top. And we are reluctant to help the other women, especially if she appears to be the direct threat to us.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, I experienced it firsthand everywhere I went, and my heart ached. Not that I think I'm any better than anybody else, but can we not bring each other up? So there are 10 spots for women, 20 spots for women, and ideally 50 spots for women and 50 spots for men. Can we not do that?
Well, I think it comes to us women, and I have let me draw a different parallel here. I used to own my agency of classical singers, and I was mainly focused on female singers, just simply because they're closer to me from a technical point of view than a male voice. It's a different organ. I mean, they have different constraints than women, and etc. And when I was placing my female singers in the different opera houses, you had all this competition amongst women, and trying, the more famous one trying to push away the others. And I was always saying, you know what, there's a place for everyone. There is, and this is what makes diversity and inclusion so important, is that the more you allow and you open up to diversity from all points, different angles and sides, the richer you allow yourself to be, because we don't hold all the truth, and we cannot satisfy all tastes. There will be, if I stay now with the voices, there will be people who will be more attracted to heavier voice, softer voices, the others who are more, which I don't like, for instance, which are too high pitch, and who are too metallic for me. So everyone, it's like wine or cheese or whatever you want to take as food. there are so many different tastes in life. And the more we open up to this, the better it is. And I think that it is also up to us also to occupy these spaces, because nature doesn't like emptiness. So whenever there's an empty place, it is going to be taken by someone. So it is up to us not to push others away, but just to let us grow and expand in our strength, in our expertise, in our authority, and it will come automatically. I mean, we will attract people who feel being attracted to us, who feel like a bond with us, and I think we can have, there are 7 billion of people on this earth. We cannot satisfy everyone. So let's do it. And this is the reason why, from a business perspective, I'm always talking about the different types of CEOs, senior leaderships. But now I'm more specifically about CEOs. What I like, for instance, was Indra Nooyi, the former Pepsi and chairman of PepsiCo. She is she comes more for the finance side, and you feel it, how she's structured, but she was also very open-minded. But what her strength is, and now today also her mission, is to make the community aware of the value that we're losing in having talented women because they are mothers, that we do not support them, so that they can concile being a mother and being a leader. And see, I think that as a woman, you ought to own that space and to be proud of you being a leader, of being working, doing what you like, and being also a mother, right, and a wife, and whatever you are. And I think it is up to us. It is a terrific time for us to be able to be whom we want to become because of our predecessors.
Yeah, we talked about this, I think, in the previous episode, and where as a young woman in the US and trying to build my career, and everywhere I turned, if there is a C-suite women female executive, they did not have children. And my experience is limited. Like, I'm a researcher, sample size of how many, right? And as a young woman, I was like, what does that mean? That means that you have to dedicate to your career, so you do not have time to rear children and look after them. I was confused, and it was still a long time ago. I'm not, I'm Gen X, right? So we don't talk about those things. And people joke about the fact that Gen X is always like sandwich generation between millennial and baby boomers. Yeah. But like, I grew up in a time that, maybe that means if you want for you to be really successful, then you should put motherhood on hold and pursue your career. So I didn't know what that was. Mm-hmm. And I was just looking at kind of tunnel vision where I was, the company. But Madeleine Albright has 3 daughters. Sarah Blakely, I think she has 4 kids. And I think millennial generation, younger generation in their 20s and 30s and early 40s, and they're very adamant about having family life, work and life balance. In addition to pursuit of career, I want my personal life, and I want to have kids. I want more time dedicated to that. Even men want to have that stronger bond with kids. So all these things progress was made because of the sacrifice that previous generation of women made. Mm-hmm. Maybe they didn't have the time to create kids and do it because the society and the workplace wasn't supportive of women taking time off to raise kids. But what is more important than raising kids? The next generation, right? So you brought really good point that nowadays we're putting the pressure on corporation and different organizations why you should not lose talent, because she's at the prime age, childbearing age, and this is a time that she needs to focus on raising small kids. Mm-hmm. And once they become a teenager, what have you, then I have a little more time, they're a little more independent. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Why can we not nurture that time period and grow with her as a person? Yes. Right? So that's how you could still have a good life and be a mom, but pursue the career that is purposeful to you. Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, but see, it depends on the cultures, because look, here in Germany, you have up to 2 years where you can go on maternity leave. The thing is, you don't have an environment which allows you really to put your kids when they are smaller, in a special preschool. When in France, for instance, or in Israel, with these are totally different societies, or also Italy or Spain, where the family bonds are way closer, where it is absolutely normal that a woman gets pregnant, gives birth, and goes quickly back to work, and they can really, how should I say, they can really live these two worlds together. And so I think that today women shouldn't ask about permission. Just do it and make it happen. But make it happen in such a way that it is done in a smart way. So, and now I'm speaking, Mercer, everything which is around retirement, actuarial calculations, so that you don't get hit too much by a salary discrepancy or gap, which is going to rise and with the age. So it is about learning what are the tactics, what are the tools, what you should be taking care of or focusing, so that you don't pay too much because you have been away from work. I mean, just do it. We have, it's up to us. We're citizens in a society. It's also up to us to shape the society so that it suits our needs. And this is, for instance, the work I love that Indra Nooyi does, especially in the US, just to shift, this. The US are pretty conservative when it comes to unless you're not living in a large city. It's a pretty conservative and traditional place to be. Well, I wouldn't like to be. I mean, quite frankly, because there are so many rules, unspoken rules, which I find to be. I mean, it might be also the other way around. But so, who are women who inspire you from a business perspective? You spoke about the Spanx CEO. Whom else is inspiring you?
Can't think off the top of my head, but there are many women that I work closely with in the banking environment too. Out of respect for them, I wouldn't mention names or anything like that. But I was just thinking about, in particular, when I was quite new to this larger bank, there was women in the leadership committee. So if you are a senior manager, so it's like you're at the top of non-executive rank or above, you get to go to these quarterly dialogue with women executives, right? So we hear about their triumphs and tribulations and mistakes and what story they share to inspire the women. So there was one woman who is very strong CFO. She probably learned to behave more like a man because she come from an era where if you want to have a sit at the table, you have to dress like pinstripe blue outfit in a bank and look the part, talk like men, and things like that. So she talks about her. She had an amazing husband who's supportive. Never felt like her success diminishes him, even though she was going faster than he did, which is like blessing, right? So she talks about that, and she's got 2 daughters, and she said there were times that I couldn't go to their school events or after school events because I had to make a decision between speaking in front of 500 people versus my daughter. Like, as a mother, it aches my heart, but then I decided to be a leader and did this. And she said, for a long time, I struggled to feel like, should I feel guilty about that? They turned out all great. They're great moms, or they're great people as in their own right. And she said, darn it, like I decide I'm not going to be apologetic for what I had to do as a leader to make a difference for the next generation of women. So I was just chilled down my spine. I was totally inspired. I was like, oh my gosh, like she's my hero. So right after that, we had a coffee break, and I had a lot of my colleagues, and I was excited to talk about how I felt and then ask how people felt. And literally the vast majority, like literally 90% plus, started just criticizing her heavily. Like, what does she mean by that? And what do you mean you're not apologetic? And you weren't there? And who do you think you are? Do you even understand what I'm going through as a mother, trying to juggle all these things, being a mother, being a wife, wife, being daughter-in-law, and all these things. Who does she think she is? And I was just, I was minority, so I kept my mouth closed. And I was like, how could women be so critical of other women? There were not a single man in that place. It was all women. We were trying to be inspired and learn from other women, senior leaders, of their difficult journey. And all you got out of was she wasn't at her daughter's school event. Did you not hear the difficulties, the difficult decisions she had to make, and why she had to do that to make the difference in the lives of other women? And I'm like, which part did you not hear? But I think it was a really humbling experience for me, just because her purpose was different from yours. That doesn't diminish who you are as a mom. If your focus is being the best mom, making good enough money in your job, but then you might have outside work cause that you strongly believe in and volunteering, that's a great cause. But that doesn't mean that somebody who really wants to drive her career because she thinks that's the way she's going to make an impact doesn't make you feel awkward. So I think what we do unconsciously, if somebody is trying to do something that they don't do, and they almost make it personal. It's like, hey, it's diminishing me. Who do you think you are? And I'm like, listen, women, we cannot do that to each other. And I value your purpose, but you value mine, and we help each other to grow.
You know, I think it shows it shows something that for many people it is very difficult when you're struggling on a day-to-day basis for whatever reason on whatever subject, is to be able to have this helicopter view and to accept something else. So it is a blind spot. I mean, they felt threatened when I, for instance, I love to be inspired by people who are sparkling, pretty tough sometimes in their opinions, because it kinds of turns on my own creativity and then the vision thinking. And for instance, someone I absolutely love, because I think she's such a badass woman, and has proven to be really exceptionally well. I don't know if she spends so much time nowadays with speaking engagements. She comes from Morgan Stanley, and she's Carla Harris. You should look up for her. I mean, first she's a gospel singer, so when she's on stage, you hear everything. I mean, she's really almost like singing when she talks, and she's so pragmatic in her way of approaching success and career. So everyone who is either in consultancy businesses or in the financial service environment, because there are a lot of parallels in just listen to her. It's you get out of any talk, you're really pumped up. But I have seen her also in talks where she was speaking in front of people dining, younger people, and I was thinking, they're not listening to her. So whenever you're not really ready, you can bring the best message. It just goes in one ear and goes out in the other one. So, but I found also Jeannie Rometty, former IBM chairman and CEO, absolutely fantastic from the way she was presenting. I mean, she was a little bit too strong and very conscious of her role and taking the space that she needed whenever to do that. The thing is with her, whenever she said something, it really usually hit a nail with me when it was about business models, trends. So I'm looking around, some strong personalities, so that I don't only get it from men, but I also get from women. There are CEOs who are, for me, who are doing a fantastic job, like Julie Sweet from Accenture. I mean, but you never hear about her. You never hear about her. But I mean, the numbers of companies that are buying per year is absolutely amazing. And so I wish, that she would be a little bit more present in the outside side. Martine Furland, also from Mercer, you don't hear so much about her, but I know that she does. I mean, she used to be my my mentor, and also for a certain period of time, also I was also reporting to her. She does a lot. She's very much involved, but I wish we had more women who were more outspoken. And by the way, to be frank, I used to be part of these types of women because I was so focused on me driving the business, making it happen, that I was more acting as a great, I'm talking now about me, okay? More acting as a great eminence rather than acting as a CEO and occupying the stage. Because I mean, which was kind of funny because I used to work with opera singers and them occupying the stage. So I exactly know what it means, and you have to be overlooking whatever barriers are thrown into your legs so that you stumble upon them, and you just have to occupy physically. I mean, occupy it and show your presence. And but I was so focused on my work. And I think it is also the time that we have, like the Spanx CEO. I mean, when she speaks, you can only laugh because she has such a sense of humor, and also the way she talks, her stories and shares them are absolutely wonderful. So it goes all about a lot of storytelling, becoming a storyteller, and continue to bring along whomever is willing to be brought along. So
we wanted to talk a little bit about our path, why we changed our career path. But in our own mind, we didn't really change the direction. It was, I mean, I don't know how you feel about that. Would you like to talk about it first, or would you like me to go first?
Well, I can continue here. I think that for me it was really easy. I had promised my family to be only 5 years in Switzerland, and and the 5 years passed by, and all of a sudden I thought, I think I need to take care of that. And there were things which happened, also that I had found my potential successor of mine at that time, and that I wanted also to hire, but in another position, obviously. And it happened so fast. In the moment, I think it was about only 1 or 2 days, I got, I saw an ad on making my potentially me doing a dissertation, PhD, and I got, it was like a calling. I said, okay, the 5 years are over. I promised that. And so I decided to step down. But I must say, for me too, I had completely underestimated the disruption that I was doing with myself, also the feedback that I got. Because many people thought, ooh, she says that she's stepping down, but it is, they had a problem. They had to, and it hit me really hard, first to know that people were having these thoughts, and me finding my new personality. And what I found nowadays is that I'm more connected to whom I was as a young woman, meaning my passion was classical music, conducting, and somehow I am even though I'm not doing anything with classical music anymore, I can again be anchored in what my conception of leadership, which is around, as a conductor, working with extraordinary soloists, accomplished soloists, and see with all these people how we can find with vision, how can we find a voice, what can we do? And it's another life for me, and to know that I can also be there and help mostly women, because I also work with men, to find their voice, because is really important, because one of the questions I usually get is from women and from accomplished women is, I don't really have a role model. Right. And this is something which strikes me, and reason why I wanted also to incite some names. And I always say, go out, find them, and get some glue and glue yourself to them and get inspired. But look around. The more you are going to look around you will find women who are really inspiring, who are doing fantastic jobs and work. So I'm really happy what I'm doing today. But it was a painful road to get there, I must say.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the finding what's purposeful to you in career and life usually start with your inner dialogue. And something big happens, and it's happening for you, not to you, right? We hear this all the time. And would you like to hear my story?
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
you know something about this, but it started with, I just want to share this because people who appear to be very purposeful in their decision in life and career, it doesn't happen overnight. It's because they pursue and they sought after what's meaningful to them. And there were many iterations of it. And so for me, it started with, I had a literally like meltdown in my mid-career. And I just wanted something bigger than me, bigger purpose, but for the life of me, I couldn't find it. So I was looking for next level role, and I wanted to be an executive because what that meant to me is it's not role, but that means bigger team, bigger impact on employees, bigger impact on customers. And I felt like I'm pretty good at this, so I should do that. And I didn't have I was so focused, and it's exactly how you said it. I didn't go out there and saw other role models. I was entrenched. I had a tunnel vision, and it didn't work out the way I envisioned because there are many, many mistakes that I made, and that a lot of women, highly ambitious, dedicated women make. I just didn't know how to create network. I didn't know how to have a strategic career path and life plan. None of that. I just worked hard, and then I assumed they would recognize that. So when it kind of fell apart, brought upon by myself, nobody else, I just had an abrupt stop, and I had really long, I think more than a year long inner dialogue. And then I saw help, and I just started talking to myself, and I said, you know what? The best thing you could do is talking to other people when it's the most uncomfortable thing to do, and be absolutely vulnerable. But for me, growing up in Korea and the way I was raised, like admitting your mental breakdown and vulnerability at that level is a ultimate failure. And I realized it's not a failure. You're just learning. You're just beginning to awaken to what's possible. So I did that. And then I realized, what do I know? Why have I done, like I was interior design major in undergrad, never became an interior designer. I was mastering in tourism administration and marketing because I thought I was going to be a professor back home in tourism, and the real talent was needed there. I didn't become that. And I was like, what is this? What's my purpose? Why am I constantly revisiting these things? And along the way, I realized I was really good at research, and I was a pattern finder. I was absolutely fascinated by people, what motivates them. And, in my corporate career, I was fascinated and energized to coach people for development. But a lot of times I was coaching for performance risk, and it just wasn't what I wanted. And just this light bulb went on, and I'm like, hey, Sue, you should be a coach. And I had no idea what that meant. And so I pursued that. And then I started working with my private clients and other people. And every session, I am exhausted. I have 1 hour session with my private client. I am listening to every single word and gesture through Zoom because of COVID. And there is nothing more invigorating and energizing than that. And I do summary. And it's mostly what they said to me. They forget what they said. And I summarize based on the words they use. And they're just blown away because, why is their word? And I realized this is my calling. Everything I've done in the past is preparing me to this point, and that it gave me the skill set to listen, find a pattern, sympathize, to help people to see something they already have in them, but they're too busy to see.
Right.
So I'm sharing this is because I'm at the beginning of my journey. I'm learning every day, but the reason why I'm sharing, and I was convincing Catherine to change the subject, let's talk about this, not the performance review thing, because a lot of people struggle, especially during COVID, and there's great resignation. People are wondering what's next, what they should do. And I realized it doesn't mean walk away from your six-figure corporate job and do something purposeful, like Hasten and Catherine. It's not that. You have a great job. It's the way you look at your job. It's the way you look at your relationship. It's the way you redefine your purpose. And you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for people around you. And I had a group coaching session with really, really high aspirational women. And one woman said, I was thinking about difficult conversation I could have with my father, but I think it's actually, I should start having having this dialogue with myself.
Excellent.
And I was like so happy. And I said, exactly. You should start having dialogue with yourself. And it's very uncomfortable. And that's the only, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen over one week or 2 weeks or 3 months. You got to do it for at least a year or longer. And it's worth it. It's because it's your life. Because if you're a corporate woman, you're probably 25 to 50 something. Isn't it worth spending 6 months, 3 months, 1 year to have an inner dialogue with yourself and shed all these preconceived notion and conditioning and really ask what's important to you? If it's becoming a mom is important, be happy with it, but also support other women who want to do other things because it's their vision and they respect your vision. How can we respect each other and support each other's purpose and calling?
So what would be 3 words of advice that which you would like to give to share with our audience?
Dream big. Dream big. I stopped envisioning, and that's when all the problems started happening. Dream big, even though you don't know how. Don't worry about how. Dream big and find people, as Catherine said, reach out and find people. Not everybody may want to be your mentor, sponsor, or friend. That's okay. But if you keep pursuing, there will be people. That's how Catherine and I met, and we feel like we're like lifelong friends. But our relationship has been only a few months, and we have really deep relationship. And like take risk and fail often and fail fast. And it's don't people who are very eloquent and speak in public stage, they made lots of mistakes along the way. You just see her and him at pinnacle of their career, but they made a lot of mistakes in the past 20 years. And so you don't see that. And the third one is start having dialogue with yourself and lift other people up and make meaningful connection. And that will bring the joy back to your life.
That is good. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. I thought about 3 words that I would give. It would be be intentional about what you're doing and why you're doing it, why it is so important to you. It is about being impactful, but not necessarily only from a business perspective, but also with what you said so eloquently about helping others, making sure that you give the good deeds also to others. And the third one would for me would be just follow the voice of your heart. In the end, life is a journey. It's not a destination. It is a journey, and you don't know where you will be ending up anyway. That is a surprise that life gives all of us, that we cannot control it usually, or most of us. And that was a beautiful discussion. And thank you for having this, that Madeleine Albright sparked you to ask me if we could change the topic, because I think it is really important that we can be, it's like walking in a field with a lot of flowers. You just have to look in the field and you will see so many flowers. And these are inspirations. So look out in the world and you will find your inspiration. I hope we could today. It took a little bit longer than usual, but
I think it's worth it.
Absolutely. At least that we could place some little seeds of inspirations now, and that we could water it enough so that you can go out in the world and listen. Explore. The name we gave to you, we shared with you, you will see, and you will find the people who are talking to you. Also the role models to whom you would like to, or you aspire to look like, because there are so many of us women out there. So
yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story, Catherine. And one last thing, believe that you are the role model for someone else.
Oh, really?
We all are role models for someone else.
Yes. And you know what? It is one of the that is really important. And then we stop here. But I think that it is also, I had this week a discussion with a very accomplished young leader, senior leader, and she told me about who I'm missing some role models, and I don't know how to behave myself to be the right role model. And what I said to her, I said, don't even try to be the right role model. Just be you. Show your heart, show your vulnerability, whom you are, so people can see the congruency see in you, can get to know who you are, and explore this personality. And with some people, it will go well, and with some others, a little bit less. But we cannot be there to please everyone. So
right, that's absolutely golden. Thank you so much. I can't agree with more. Yeah.
Thank you. So we'll see each other again in 2 weeks' time. This time,
We will go live.
He promised me that we will be again live. So we'll try to keep our words, and we'll see then each other again in 2 weeks. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.